Hi and welcome back to my channel. It has been an absolutely abysmal week here on Robinhood, by far the worst week I've ever had. That being said, I think it's really important to be fair and honest and talk about when the stocks are going down just as much as when the stocks are going up. That's just my personal opinion. We can see here on the day I'm down 8.7%. That's part of a larger picture. If we zoom out to the week, we can see I'm down almost $7,000 or about 17.5%. Here in a little bit, we'll talk about what Joe Biden did here today and why that has caused the stock market to plummet. Over the past month now, we can see I'm down about $2,300, which is crazy. Over the past 3 months now, still up about $8,500. Over the past year, still up $19,600 or about 147%, and all time now still up 137.47% or just over $19,000. So as bad as this week has been, I'm still up significantly. So it could be a lot worse, but it is frustrating to lose $7,000 in a week. The total investment in the portfolio is now sitting at $13,850. That's because I deposited another $150 last week. Made a couple of moves with that, including utilizing some more of my margins. As we can see, my buying power is down to about $118. Margin available is $6,322.43, and I've used $6,204.41. But now we'll get to the purchases. First, I purchased $50 of Bitcoin, or 0.00812 Bitcoin. My new position was 0.521765 Bitcoin. Price there was $61,572.49. Next, I purchased $25 more Ethereum. Quantity there was 0.01 Ether. New position is 0.2594. Price there was $2,422.20. Now we'll get into the stocks. The first thing I did was purchase one more share of Riot Blockchain. That has since plummeted. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Price there was at $47.08. I now own 4 shares of Riot Blockchain. Next, I purchased 3 shares of SPHD, my favorite ETF in the portfolio and by far the largest stock holding in the portfolio. Purchased those 3 shares at a cost of $43.83 a piece for a total cost of $131.49. I'm now at 51 shares of that. Then I did double down on Bitcoin. We saw a big plummet as I showed, so I purchased $250 more Bitcoin, which is why my margin is now so low. The quantity there was 0.00451. My new position with Bitcoin is 0.52628 Bitcoin. The price there was $55,325.96. Overall, a horrible week, but now we'll talk about what Joe Biden did to cause this massive plummet here today. Real quick, before we get to the tax bill, make sure to subscribe to the channel and comment down below what you want to see next. It makes a huge difference. Thanks. Here we have a very short article from Barron's titled "The Dow Fell 321 Points Because Biden Pulled the Plug." The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 321.41 points, or nearly 1%, to close at 33,816. The S&P 500 dropped 38 points, or 0.92%, to end at 4135. And the NASDAQ tumbled 132 points, or 0.94%, to close at 13,818. Biggest gainer in the S&P 500 was credit reporting agency Equifax, which saw shares rise 15% after beating earnings estimates. According to an anonymous report, the Biden administration will propose to increase the tax rate for the richest Americans to 39.6% from 37%, while raising the long-term capital gains tax on people earning more than $1 million to 39.6% from 20%. So for those who are not currently aware, there are 2 capital gains tax rates. So if you buy a stock today and you sell it now, anytime now in the next 364 days, you pay normal tax rates. If you wait a full year, the top marginal tax rate is 20%, and that doesn't kick in until over $400,000 in long-term capital gains. So this proposal effectively doubles the long-term capital gains tax rate. So here we can see higher capital gains tax rates lower the after-tax return on stock sales, thereby making them a less appealing investment. So the fear is that people are going to pull out of the market, and that's why you saw the market hit so much today. Fortunately, history shows changes in capital gains taxes have minimal correlation to stock market returns. Other forces like changes in the economy and interest rates are always at play. Still, a higher tax rate on capital gains isn't a positive, and investors were not encouraged to hear the news Thursday. Stocks were posting moderate losses and were flat at times until the report hit the tape around 1 p.m. Eastern, sending the S&P 500 to its intraday low from the intraday high. Here at the end, they say, importantly, stocks were having trouble gaining traction even before the tax news. Not even a better than expected data in initial jobless claims provided much lift. There was a pandemic low 547,000 unemployment claims in the last week, less than the expected 603,000, and an improvement from last week's reading of 586,000. States are reopening and trillions of fiscal stimulus dollars have provided small businesses with the cash to rehire workers. With the S&P 500 up just under 10% year to date, the rally is in need of a pause, according to some observers. So the big point here is that over the last 6 months, and really since the beginning of the year, we've seen the S&P 500 and the greater stock market as a whole on an absolute tear. So we saw a pullback during the week, and then that announcement of the tax rates today really drove stock prices down further. So it's sort of a mixed bag moving forward. We're not sure exactly what this means, but for the investor, I think it's very important to understand what's going on and understand that this change in tax policy could mean a lot for you. That being said, if you don't make a ton of money, this may not affect you hardly at all. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's something to make sure that you're up on. Getting into the stocks in my portfolio, the first one for today is going to be VTI, one of the other ETFs in my portfolio. This one is lower dividend, a little bit higher cost. This one only pays a quarterly dividend. We can see it's trading at about $215 right now. Over the past month, up about 4%. 3 months up 7%, past year up 53%, and 5 years now up 103%, and that is without the 1.36% dividend here. Price to earnings ratio is high. I've talked about this one quite a bit. I think it's very solid, very consistent. Dividend is not the key. That's not why I'm owning this one. But let me know what you think about VTI. I think it's performed very well for me. We can see my total return is up 29.3%, or $340 all time. So this is one that I'm at least going to hold and potentially buy more in the future. Next up, we have O, the largest REIT holding in my portfolio, now trading at $69.08. Total market value of my 18 shares is now $1,067.55. Total return is up about $176 or 16.5%. Of course, that does not include the dividend here. Dividend on this one is great. It's monthly. Dividend yield is about 4.1%, so I'm very satisfied with this. For those who are not aware, REITs are legally required to pay out at least 90% of their earnings in the form of dividend. That means that the price of the REIT itself is not going to move a whole lot, and that's why the dividend is pretty high. That being said, there is a decent amount of movement in this one compared to some other REITs. So we can see 2.8% on the last week, past month up about 10, 3 months up 15, past year up 37%, and 5 years now only up about 10%. Decent dividend yield. Of course, real estate got hit really hard last year, so let me know what you think about REITs in general and O specifically. One of the more forgotten players in my portfolio is Logitech, now trading for $114.24. Total cost on my shares is $255.89, which gives me a total return of 123.22%. I'm up $315 on this one all time. I have not purchased any shares of Logitech in over a year, so this is one that's definitely on my list to buy here pretty soon. That being said, Logitech only pays a dividend once a year, and because this is a foreign company, you have to withhold taxes for Logitech. So we can see they are headquartered in Switzerland, which is what I was talking about there, being a foreign company. Dividend yield is about 0.73%. But again, you have to do those withholdings. So dividend isn't great here. This is more of a return stock. So over the past month, up 7.7%, 3 months up about 8.5%, past year up 143%, and 5 years now up 605%. I've talked about it before, but earnings-wise, Logitech has performed very well. We can see their earnings are trending tremendously in the right direction, and that's the big thing to look at here. On Robinhood, 67% buy rating, only an 8% sell rating, so I'm very happy with Logitech. Walmart is on the list for me. I'm going to be purchasing some more Walmart shares here in the near future. The reason I like Walmart so much is that they're consistent whether the market is up, down, sideways, in circles. We know that Walmart is capable of making money, and if anyone can survive the pandemic or really anything going on, it's going to be Walmart. So we can see total return is now about 9% or $35 on those 3 shares. Average cost is $128. Past week, it's down a little bit. Past month, up 6%. 3 months down about 4%. Past year, up about 8%. And 5 years now, up 102%. The fascinating thing here is that it's actually difficult to tell when the pandemic even hit because Walmart was able to stay open and stay profitable. If we zoom in here, we can see the pandemic hit here in March. There was a little bit of a drop-off, but they actually spiked as they were one of the only businesses able to stay open. Earnings-wise, we can see there was not much of a slump at all, and that's why I really like Walmart. They have slowly increased their dividend. The yield here is about 1.55%, but this is a great company in terms of dividend growth for the future. Last stock for today is going to be Riot Blockchain. I've talked about this one quite a bit recently, and my videos talking about Riot Blockchain have done very well. This is a cryptocurrency-based company. They do mining and all sorts of other stuff with crypto. The big thing is when the price of crypto goes up, Riot Blockchain stock goes up exponentially. When the price of crypto goes down, they struggle tremendously. So we can see my total return now is down $53.16, or about 27%. On the day, down nearly 12%, so that does hurt. Over the past week, now down 20%. Past month, down 35%. 3 months, still up about 64%. Past year, we can see up about 3,000%, which is just crazy. Wish I would have bought sooner, but of course, hindsight's 2020. Over the past 5 years now, up about 1,000%. As I mentioned, their earnings are going to be very dependent on what crypto is doing, so this next earnings call on May 6th is going to be huge. I will definitely be tuned into this one. So we can see their earnings were trending downward, but in Q4 of 2020, we know that cryptocurrency spiked and they were able to be profitable. I personally believe that even though Bitcoin and Ethereum and really all crypto has struggled over the past week or two, the prices have been so much higher this quarter than the previous quarters that they should be profitable, and my hope is that we see a spike here in Riot Blockchain. Bitcoin, we have to talk about Bitcoin every single week because it makes up such a large portion of my portfolio. Now it makes up about 66.2% of the entire portfolio. On the day, we can see it's down about 400. Total return now is up about 14,000 or 121%. Bitcoin is down nearly 10% today, trading under $50,000, which hurts a lot, especially considering how much money I put in last week. That being said, my total return is still pretty good, and I'm very bullish for Bitcoin here the rest of the year. On the week, we can see it's down about 20%. Past month, down about 10%. 3 months, still up about 50%. Past year, up 600%, and 5 years now up about 11,500%. My plan with Bitcoin has not changed. The goal here is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as I possibly can until the end of the year and dump sometime in December. I may be doing a video here in the future, but essentially, long-term capital gains is going to be the big player for me in terms of Bitcoin. As I mentioned earlier in the video, those long-term capital gains rates could be changing here very soon. But for this year, we know that the long-term capital gains rates are going to stay the same. And every week that I sit on my Bitcoin, I'm eligible for more money to be taxed at that lower long-term capital gains rate. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin or anything else in the portfolio. That's it for this video, and I'll be back with another one next week.